Okay, little update on the Rampage. You can see it's still sitting in my garage. Still with no engine. But I finally got the other engine out of the Rampage. That's, well, what's left of the Rampage that is up at my parents' house. So I get home, pull off the crank pulley and the water pump pulley, which I think the water pump is shot, but we'll have to see how bad it is because the other one's actually cracked and it leaks. Swapped out the air conditioning bracket for the alternator only bracket and removed the power steering pump. And hard to see here because it's dark, but took the transmission off. Now I went and I bought a brand new flex plate about a year or two ago, and I figured, oh, I'll be swapping in this engine from an 83 into the 84. Should be same bolt pattern, same everything, just swap the flywheel off because this one was a manual. Swap the flywheel off, put the flex plate on, and we'll be ready to go. But I go and I pull transmission off, and we have 8 bolts on the flywheel. We shouldn't have 8 bolts. We should have 6 bolts. So I'm looking around at the engine, start scraping some crud off the back. If we can see here, this engine is from December 1st, 1986. Which means it has an 8-bolt crankshaft, obviously. Whereas the old engine, trying to focus it here, was from July 1st, 1983, which means it, of course, is the correct engine and has the right bolt pattern. So, unfortunately, I can't use the flex plate that I bought, but luckily, the turbo engine that I have up at my parents' house is from an 88, I think. Yeah, 88, because it has the new style intake. But it's an 88, and that was an automatic, so I can use that flex plate on here. But, of course, wasted time. I have to go back up there and all that fun stuff. But why am I not just putting a manual transmission in? Because the transmission's still in there, and I'm just going to use it for now. I just need to move this thing back and forth a little bit, get it out of the garage, so I can get the Polara in the garage over the winter, which you kind of can't see, again, because it's dark. But eventually, this is going to get the turbo engine with the 5-speed transmission, which is actually, it's not the transmission that was on this engine. It's another transmission that's in the bed of the truck that was from a wrecked Shelby Charger. So that engine will end up, or that transmission will eventually end up going in here. But to change the transmission, obviously you got to pull the axle shafts out, and I have to cut a hole in the floor to fit the shifter in and everything. So hopefully I'll have another update tomorrow. Oh, I have to swap out the carburetor too because this one's a little crusty. It ran, I mean, obviously not that good, but it did run, and I was able to drive the thing before it fell apart. well, somewhat drive it. The seat almost fell through the floor while I was driving it, but I'm not going to mess around with trying to get this carburetor to work properly. I'm just going to swap the one that was on the old engine into it. But that's that. Need a new air inlet tube too for the emissions, but see what I can do tomorrow. That's it.